online and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
We begin tonight with new information regarding a story that we brought you last week about a woman, Brittany Berger, making accusations against U.S. Attorney Drew Wrigley on social media after the two were involved in a crash in downtown Fargo July 18th. It happened along First Avenue North and University Drive.
Berger accused Wrigley of hit and run, but Fargo police are telling us this evening the investigation is over and they found no wrongdoing on the part of Drew Wrigley. Police say no citations were issued and no criminal charges will be filed.
I agree that we're spending money on things we don't need to be spending money on. So that's obvious to me.
A Fargo commissioner says the city needs to put its needs over its wants.
A budget proposal called for increasing the presence of fire crews in the downtown area to improve response times. Valley News Team's Veronica Marshall examined the city's priorities in its proposed 2020 budget and has more. Veronica?
Andrea, there are still a few days left for city commissioners to comment on the proposed 2020 budget, which means there's still time for residents to fight to fund the projects that matter to them. One of those projects is the idea of a downtown rapid response team for the fire department. The fire chief tells me with more people moving downtown, that part of the city is getting more emergency calls. In fact, over the last 10 years, calls for service have gone up 161%. And rolling out fire trucks and ambulances for every call is expensive. Chief Dirksen says a rapid response team would be faster, and research says over time it would save the city money. But the idea didn't make the cut this year. Instead, the mayor's budget has outlined ideas like expanding the Fargo Dome as a major initiative. City Commissioner Tony Gehrig says decisions like these seem to put the city's wants over the city's needs.
Is that a priority for us? Is the question. Is that more important than giving incentives to people? Is that more important than other things that we do in the city of Fargo? I would suggest that it is, and I will offer ways to cut the budget and make room for things like that.
City commissioners have until this Friday, August 2nd, to review and comment on the proposed budget. A public hearing on the budget is scheduled for September 9th. Andrea?
All right, thank you, Veronica. What do you want to see prioritized in the 2020 budget? You can find this story on Valley News Live Facebook page. You can join the conversation there.
Warm and getting warmer as we near the end of July. Hutch Johnson is here with details on your No Wait weather planner for this Tuesday. Hutch?
Mike, I got to tell you, very quiet weather as we started out our day with some mighty chilly readings up and down the region. Take a look at this. Mid-30s to upper 30s in north central portions of Minnesota to get our day going. We've rebounded nicely in these areas. 65 though in Badette, 73 in Crookston. Right now temperatures are in the 70s for most, and it looks to stay that way with the satellite and radar showing quiet conditions. Your planner for Fargo shows temperatures slipping into the 60s after sunset. The wind remains light. The skies remain clear. Grand Forks, I expect 67 in the 9 o'clock hour. Light winds and mostly clear skies. We do have some changes, and that heat does return to the valley. I'll have details on that and our chances of storms here in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Hutch.
Authorities are asking for your help finding these two people of interest in an ongoing investigation. On July 19th, two people spray painted two words on the Grand Forks County office building parking ramp and two words on a dumpster outside the building in downtown Grand Forks. If you have any information, you can call the Grand Forks County Sheriff's Office at 780-8280.
A Minnesota man with a history of assault is facing additional assault charges. He's accused of stabbing a man in the arm outside a Moorhead apartment complex. When police arrived, they say they found a man with a large and deep laceration on the forearm. The victim told police he had been outside the building when a man that also lived in that apartment complex came up to him and stabbed him. Police found Marcus Bissonette walking a couple of blocks away. He's been charged with possessing a dangerous weapon and assault within 3 years of a previous conviction.
A Minnesota man could be facing up to 5 years in prison after court records say he threatened someone for not giving him a cigarette. Court records claim Enrique Lopez approached a man who was smoking inside a bus stop. The victim says Lopez asked for a cigarette, but the victim said he was smoking his last one. That's when records claim Lopez said that he would stab the victim and take his cigarette. Court documents claim Lopez tipped over a nearby trash can and told the victim he was looking for a bottle so he could stab the victim. The victim was able to get away and call police. Officers later found Lopez outside a grocery store and arrested him. He now faces a felony charge of threats of violence, reckless disregard, risk.
A West Fargo man changed his plea to guilty today for several charges, including possessing drugs. It's a case we told you about back in May. 23-year-old Trevor Love pleaded guilty to several charges, including reckless endangerment, fleeing a peace officer, and unlawful possession of drugs. Officers tried pulling over Love on Main Avenue in West Fargo on May 30th. They say that Love went into oncoming traffic to try and get away. He was eventually arrested after sideswiping 5 vehicles at a red light at Main Avenue and 36th Street South. He's going to serve up to 18 months in jail. He'll be on probation for 2 years after that.
Neighbors in the Prairie Wood area are still shaken up after a car smashed into a tree Sunday evening. A doorbell camera in the area caught the vehicle whizzing down the street before loud squealing and a large crash can be heard just seconds later. Many in the neighborhood tell us it's a miracle no one was killed, as the car was traveling at speeds close to 60 or 70 miles an hour, a claim we were unable to confirm with Fargo police, as officers are still working on the report.
I mean, he could have very easily killed somebody that day.
You know, I don't know what the consequences for that kind of driving are. I hope there's some, because that's ridiculous to drive through a neighborhood like that and risk people's lives.
The driver and 2 passengers did not sustain any major injuries, and police say the driver is not facing any charges.
Fargo police are also looking to identify a man after home security cameras caught him stealing a car in the Osgood area. It happened in the 4900 block of 55th Street South just before 4:30 this morning. We talked with the victim today. She says her car is a gray 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee. She says inside that car was a checkbook, things for her baby, including a car seat. She says she accidentally left spare keys inside the vehicle after a family vacation last weekend. A similar-looking man was also caught on surveillance video trying to break into another car in the Deer Creek neighborhood last night. That was around 1:45. Fargo police say that there were 4 car break-ins last night, one in the exact same area as the car theft. If you have any information on these incidents, call police 701-235-4493.
A special election could be on the way in Moorhead.
Joel Paulson.
Here.
Tomorrow night, the City Council is expected to accept Joel Paulson's resignation. Paulson has more than a year left on his term, but is in contract negotiations to become the executive director of the FM Area Diversion Project. He says he cannot hold both positions because that would create a conflict of interest. If Paulson's resignation is accepted, his Ward 3 City Council seat will be empty until a special election puts someone new in his place to fill in until the term is up.
North Dakota law is getting tougher on underage drinkers. Beginning Thursday, anyone under the age of 21 cited for being a minor in possession of alcohol will be required to attend an early intervention program. Lawmakers made that mandatory this year. Previously, it was up to a judge to decide whether minors would have to pay a fine and/or go through an uncertified program. The Department of Human Services director says anyone could hold the intervention class and could create their own curriculum or teachings. But now they'll have to go through background checks and training and be certified by the state of North Dakota.
Later on Valley News Live at 6, a change to a North Dakota law means you might not have to involve the cops if you get in a crash.
Were you chilly this morning? Our morning temperatures were close to record lows in Fargo and Grand Forks. We got some sunshine this afternoon and we've warmed up nicely. We'll have details of what you can expect as we go through the remainder of our week next.